Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We are diving into a concept today that, well, it sits right at this fascinating intersection, doesn't it? Between, like, ancient wisdom and modern neuroscience.
Absolutely. It's a topic many people, maybe even some listening right now, kind of dismiss as pure mystical thinking, maybe a bit woo-woo.
Right, that woo-woo label. But it's something that, when you look closely, the world's most effective leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, they've been using it for centuries.
Whether they called it manifestation or something else entirely. Grit, focus, mindset, different names, same core principle sometimes.
And our mission today is, well, I think it's pretty critical to take this idea of manifestation, which often gets, wrapped up in vague language.
Yeah, unclear stuff.
And strip it down, make it a practical step-by-step system.
Exactly. We're going to look under the hood using insights grounded in, well, actual science, neuroscience, behavioral psychology, even touching on principles from modern physics.
We're aiming to provide a real shortcut for you, the listener, to understand the precise mechanism of deliberate creation.
Deliberate creation, that's the key.
And the central idea that really kicked off our research for this deep dive. It's a bit provocative, maybe.
Go on.
What if you are, right now, like in this very moment, actively creating your future?
Yeah.
Not next week, not dreaming about next year, but today. Through the sheer volume and repetition of your thoughts.
And here's the real kicker, the part most people miss completely. The vast majority of individuals, they're manifesting the exact life they don't want. Not because they're unlucky or cursed or anything like that, but simply because their mental focus, their, let's call it internal operating system, it's unconsciously aimed at the wrong target.
So they're accidental creators, is that fair?
Accidental creators. I think that's a great way to put it. Generating stress, lack, limitation.
Yeah.
Basically by default, because they haven't taken control of programming.
Accidental creator. I really like that framing. It makes it instantly relatable, doesn't it? Because we all have these small examples of the process working. The power of focused thought, even accidental thought.
Oh, definitely. Think about those little synchronicities the sources often bring up.
Uh-huh. The classic.
Yeah, the classic example. You're thinking intensely about someone, maybe haven't spoken to them in ages, just pondering what they're up to.
Yeah, maybe an old friend from college or something.
Right. And then, boom, seemingly out of nowhere, you get a text message, an email from them that same afternoon.
And the conscious mind just goes, huh, what a coincidence.
Exactly. Dismisses it. But the deliberate creator or someone learning to be one looks at that and thinks, okay, wait, that's my internal filter, maybe highlighting data that's relevant to my recent focus.
Or, the flip side, the negative stuff.
Oh, yeah. You start really stressing intensely about money, feeling that tight knot of panic about the budget,
We've all been there.
And what happens? Suddenly, it feels like unexpected bills are piling up, little fees pop up, the car needs a surprise repair. It just seems to reinforce that initial stressful state.
And the sources we looked at are clear. This isn't just bad luck piling on.
No. They argue that's manifestation in action, too, happening through that repetitive negative focus. You're accidentally creating more of what you're stressing about.
Okay, but we know there's skepticism, and honestly, rightly so sometimes.
Of course.
I mean, thinking super hard about $1 million doesn't just make a briefcase of cash appear on your desk, right? We wish.
If only. No, it doesn't work like magic. Poof.
So how do we address that friction, that completely natural skepticism people feel when we start talking about, thoughts creating reality?
We address it by being really clear. We're moving beyond just wishful thinking. We're focusing purely on the documented scientific and psychological mechanisms.
Yeah.
What's actually happening in the brain and body.
Right. Based on what our sources are detailing.
Exactly. We're looking at the mechanics of the mind, the power of focused intent, the link to personal development, not, spells or magic wands.
It's about understanding the belief that one can, through force of will, desire, focused energy, deliberately influence their actions and environment.
Influence actions and environment to make something true on a physical level. It's fundamentally about gaining control over the inputs, your thoughts, your feelings, to change the physical outputs of your life, your circumstances.
Okay, excellent distinction. So let's jump right into section 1 then. Let's break down these scientific underpinnings to understand exactly why you are, in fact, already manifesting, whether you mean to or not.
Okay, first things first. We absolutely have to start with the sheer volume of our mental activity, because the numbers, honestly, they're kind of horrifying when you think about it.
Horrifying how? Lay it on us.
Neuroscientists estimate that the average person has over 50,000 thoughts per day. 50,000.
Wow. Per
Uh,
day.
Per day. If you break that down, it's roughly 35 thoughts every single minute. It's this constant churning mental engine just running inside your head all the time.
50,000. That is a huge number. And if those were 50,000 purposeful, directed, positive thoughts, we'd probably all be living in mansions by now.
Wouldn't we just? But here's the real kicker. The part that explains why so many people feel so profoundly stuck in these repetitive patterns in their lives.
What is it?
The sources we studied highlight that up to 95% of those 50,000 thoughts are the exact same thoughts you had yesterday.
95%.
Seriously. That's the core problem, and it links directly to how our brains work, specifically neuroplasticity. Your brain is essentially this structure of electrical circuits, right?
Neural pathways.
Exactly. And the more you fire the same circuits, thinking the same thoughts about your job, your money worries, your relationship issues, whatever it is, the deeper those neural pathways, those grooves, become.
Like carving a path in the woods. The more you walk it, the clearer it gets.
Precisely. And this relentless repetition creates a mental loop. It's almost like a computer program running on permanent autopilot in the background.
So if you're constantly running the program of, say, I'm stressed about money or I'm not good enough.
Right. That program automatically generates the same negative emotions, anxiety, frustration, hopelessness.
Which then trigger the same kinds of behaviors, probably avoidance or maybe scarcity thinking.
Exactly. Avoidance, scarcity behaviors, maybe not taking risks.
Yeah.
Which inevitably produce the same disappointing results.
Yeah.
Your bank balance stays the same, you don't get the promotion.
So it becomes this powerful self-reinforcing cycle, a self-fulfilling prophecy, almost literally.
Absolutely. And if we follow this logic, the sources make a really powerful claim. They suggest that the actual structure of your life, meaning the house you own, the job you have, the car you drive, your current bank balance, all these tangible things, they are all direct physical outcomes generated by your previous repetitive 95% thoughts.
Woo! That's a big statement. My house is a result of my past thoughts.
According to this framework, yes, the cumulative effect of them. So if you want a different physical reality, a better job, more money, a different house, you have to fundamentally and deliberately change the input.
You have to interrupt that 95% autopilot.
You have to challenge and reroute those entrenched neural pathways.
Yeah.
Consciously install a new program.
Okay. And that transformation, that reprogramming, it links directly to our body's chemistry, right? The chemical connection you mentioned.
Yes, absolutely. Pure, measurable human biology. When you manage to engage in positive, highly focused thinking, the kind needed for deliberate manifestation, which involves deep emotional rehearsal.
We'll get more into that later, the emotional part.
We will. But when you do that, you trigger a significant release of endorphins in your body.
Endorphins. Okay, most people know them as like feel-good chemicals, right? Runner's high and all that.
That's the common understanding, yeah. But they're actually a fascinating class of chemicals. They're endogenous opioid peptides.
Okay, science-y term. Meaning?
Yeah. Meaning they're the body's own natural painkillers and mood boosters. And we're not just talking about a mild lift in your mood here. This is a powerful physiological change happening inside you.
So what are the actual documented benefits of being consistently in that state beyond just feeling happy? Because I think people underestimate that.
The sources we looked at outline some pretty substantial measurable effects. Yes, they promote happiness and relaxation, definitely.
Yeah.
But they also measurably reduce tension in the body. They can accelerate wound healing.
Really? Wound healing?
Yes. And significantly improve the function of your immune system. Your body literally works better when it's flooded with endorphins.
Okay, that's interesting. But how does that tie back to manifesting like a better job or more money?
Crucially, from a manifestation perspective, being in this consistently elevated emotional state actually changes your cognitive processing, how you think.
Changes how you think. How so?
Well, think about it. A stressed or panicked mind, a mind running that lack program we talked about, is constricted. It defaults to fight or flight mode. It can only really focus on immediate threats or problems.
Tunnel vision, basically.
Exactly. But a mind that's boosted by endorphins, feeling positive and relaxed, it's expansive, it's creative. Being in this elevated state allows you to access higher-level cognitive functions.
Meaning you can think more clearly.
Think more clearly, make better, more strategic decisions, and this is absolutely key. You start to spot opportunities you would normally miss.
Why would you miss them otherwise?
Because when you're stressed, your brain is filtering reality through the lens of threat and scarcity. When you're feeling good, expansive, your brain's filter opens up. It starts noticing possibilities, solutions, connections.
Okay, this sounds a lot like what some scientists might call confirmation biases or maybe pattern recognition. The sources don't shy away from those labels, do they?
Not at all.
Yeah.
And honestly, those are perfectly fair scientific labels for part of the phenomenon.
Mm.
Your brain is literally filtering reality based on what it expects to see or what it's been programmed to look for.
So if you deliberately program it for success, for abundance, using focused intention.
Then the reticular activating system, that's the brain's filter, essentially starts confirming that bias. It starts actively showing you patterns, resources, people, opportunities related to success and abundance, things you might have completely overlooked before.
So it's not magic, it's the brain doing its job based on new instructions.
That's a great way to put it. It's the physiological mechanism of manifestation in action.
Yeah.
You're telling your brain what's important now, and it starts finding evidence for it.
Which leads us perfectly into the concept that, okay, admittedly sounds the most out there for many people, but is actually grounded in some interpretations of modern science, quantum field theory.
Right. This is where the concept potentially moves beyond just the individual brain and into how we might interact with our environment on a more fundamental level. It forces us to consider thoughts not just as internal chatter,
Or it as.
as energy. Modern physics, particularly quantum physics, suggests that everything in the universe is fundamentally connected through underlying energy fields. Everything is energy.
Okay, I can feel some listeners may be reaching for the skeptic button right now. My thoughts can send ripples through the universe. How do the sources bridge this gap? The gap between my subjective thought and, like, objective, measurable reality.
They bridge it by explaining that thoughts themselves are electrical impulses within the brain. That's measurable.
Yeah.
And when those thoughts are coupled with intense emotion, joy, fear, gratitude, love, they become powerful electrochemical events.
Okay.
These events create measurable frequencies. Think of it like a broadcast signal. When you hold an intense emotional thought, let's say, really feeling the joy and relief of owning your dream home, you are generating a very specific energetic signature,
A frequency.
a frequency. And the concept of the quantum field suggests this signal, this frequency, goes out. It interacts with that larger field of potentiality.
But let's get practical. What's the actionable implication here for someone trying to manifest, say, a new client? What does this signal actually do?
It's less about magically making the client appear and more about programming your own subconscious mind to align with the, let's call it, universal flow of information related to that goal. It tells your internal operating system, be ready, look for this.
Ah, so it primes you.
Exactly. It's not about magic. It's about enhancing synchronicity. When your internal signal is clear and consistent, your brain, your RAS filter, is programmed to notice the opportunity, to see the email, to pick up the phone for that call, to make the connection that will facilitate the desired outcome, like landing that client.
So you're leveraging that underlying connectivity not to magically conjure the client,
Yeah.
but to make yourself profoundly receptive and ready to take the right action when the opportunity presents itself.
Precisely. You become aligned with the opportunities that match your frequency.
Okay, it's like tuning a radio. The music, the signal, is always being broadcast. But until your radio, your mind, is programmed and tuned to the exact frequency.
All you hear is static. Or you tune into the wrong station entirely, the station playing the lack and limitation program.
That's a really helpful analogy, tuning the radio. Okay, and before we dive into the how-to, the actual formula, let's just quickly clarify exactly what we mean by manifestation in this context. The sources offered a couple of definitions.
Yes, the sort of regulated, straightforward definition is, manifestation is a belief that one can, by force of will, desire, and focused energy, make something true on a physical level. Pretty direct.
Okay, but there was another one from David Spangler that I found more compelling. It emphasized the work involved, the co-creation aspect.
Ah, yes. That one's more nuanced. It defines manifestation as the art of fashioning a co-creative, synchronistic, and mutually supportive relationship between the inner creative energies of a person's own mind and spirit and their counterpart within the larger world.
In order to bring a new and desirable situation into being. I like that. It frames it as an art form, a skill, a partnership between you and the world.
And like any art form, like any skill, it requires method, practice, and the right tools. You need structure.
Absolutely. That partnership requires effort. It requires structure. And that brings us perfectly to the core practical knowledge of this deep dive. Here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The exact 3-ingredient formula for deliberate creation. This is the blueprint. This is how you move manifestation from just a cool theory into an applied daily skill that gets results.
Okay, this formula is absolutely essential. Based on the sources, we found that most people who try manifestation and say it doesn't work, well, they're usually missing one of these 3 key ingredients.
Or maybe they have all 3, but they're not quite aligned.
Exactly. They're executing them in a non-congruent way. You need all 3 ingredients working together, synchronized, like a recipe miss an ingredient or mess up the proportions, and the cake doesn't rise.
Okay, ingredient number 1. It sounds simple on the surface, but you said it's the single biggest failure point.
It often is. It's crystal clear intention, which really boils down to radical specificity.
Specificity. Okay, what does that mean in practice?
Think of your subconscious mind like an incredibly powerful, super fast computer, or maybe like a GPS system.
Okay, I like the GPS analogy.
If you give it fuzzy instructions, like just saying, I want more money, or I want to be happy, or take me somewhere nice.
The GPS just says, cannot calculate route.
Exactly. The subconscious doesn't know what to optimize for. It doesn't know the destination. More money could mean finding a dollar on the street. Happy is too vague. It can't map a route to somewhere nice if you don't define what nice is for you.
So fuzzy intentions lead to fuzzy results. Or, more likely, no results at all, because the system doesn't have clear directions.
Precisely. The necessity here is providing your subconscious mind with clear, unambiguous GPS-level instructions, a precise destination.
Let's unpack that source example because it really nails the level of detail required instead of just, I want more money.
Right. A complete, effective intention needs specific, measurable elements. The example was, I am earning $10,000 per month.
Okay, specific number, $10,000.
Through my online business.
Specific mechanism or method, online business.
By December 31st.
Specific timeline, end of the year.
Helping people transform their health.
And a specific why or impact helping people. That covers all the bases.
Exactly. Specific number, specific timeline, specific method, and even the who or why. That gives the subconscious GPS everything it needs to start calculating routes, filtering opportunities, and guiding your actions.
Why is that method component so vital, like specifying online business?
Because it demands congruent action later on. That's ingredient 3. If you just visualize $10,000 magically appearing, but you haven't decided how it might arrive passive income, a new job, a raise, winning the lottery.
Your actions will be scattered. You won't know what to do.
Exactly. You'll be unfocused. The specific mechanism aligns your daily behavior with the goal. It eliminates ambiguity and gives your mind especially that RAS filter, an immediate, clear target for filtering relevant opportunities and information.
Okay, so crystal clear specific intention is step 1. Got it. Ingredient number 2 is the emotional amplifier. You called it emotional amplification.
Yes. Using the immense power of deep feeling as the fuel for your intention.
You said earlier the subconscious responds to emotions, not just words. Why is feeling it so crucial?
Because feelings are essentially the language the subconscious mind understands best. Words, logic. That's the domain of the conscious mind, the analytical mind.
The part that's often skeptical and says, but you don't have $10,000 right now.
Precisely. The conscious mind immediately brings up the current reality and shoots down the intention. But strong emotion, that bypasses the critic to some extent. When you attach intense present tense emotion to your clear intention, you start to trick your brain and body into believing the goal is already achieved, or at least that it's actively happening now.
Let's go back to that powerful analogy you used about fear. That really clicked for me.
Yes, the fear example is perfect because we all experience it. When you intensely fear a potential bad outcome, maybe you have a major presentation next week and you're terrified of bombing.
You don't wait until you're on stage to feel the fear, do you?
Not at all. You feel the fear now. Your heart races, maybe your palms sweat, your stomach churns days before the event. You are emotionally and even physically rehearsing the negative outcome in the present moment. You're manifesting the feeling of failure before it even happens.
Okay, so we need to apply that exact same potent mechanism, but deliberately, for the positive outcomes we want. Emotional rehearsal, but done positively.
Absolutely. It's not enough to just passively see the desired outcome in your mind's eye. You have to embody the feeling of having already achieved it now.
So if the goal is that new car,
You spend 5 minutes, maybe during your morning ritual, truly immersed in the sensory details as if it's happening now. Don't just see the car. Feel the soft leather steering wheel under your fingertips. Smell that unique new car scent. Hear the satisfying rumble of the engine starting up. Feel the profound pride swelling in your chest as you pull into your driveway, knowing you achieved this.
You make it real in your body now.
Yes, that immediate, intense, sensory-rich feeling is what creates the potent, energetic signature, the strong programming signal for the subconscious mind. It's far more effective than just repeating affirmations like a parrot without any feeling behind them.
So this emotional amplification is about making the future goal a present reality, at least neurologically and physiologically speaking.
Precisely. You are literally forming what the brain perceives as a memory of a future event. And the brain is wired to act on perceived realities and memories, not just vague hopes or wishes.
Okay, so we've got clear instructions, the specific intention, backed by the emotional fuel, the amplification. But as you mentioned earlier, this next ingredient is where a lot of the just think positive and wait teachings completely fall apart.
They do. And it's arguably the most important bridge between your inner world and your outer reality. Ingredient number 3, aligned action. This is the congruence principle.
Aligned action, the non-negotiable step you called it.
Absolutely. The sources are crystal clear and unanimous on this. Manifestation without congruent action is fundamentally just daydreaming. Pleasant, maybe, but ineffective for changing your reality.
Congruence is the key word here. Explain exactly what that means in this context. Thoughts, feelings, actions, all aligned.
It means your thoughts, your clear intention, your feelings, your emotional amplification, and your physical actions was all be flowing in the same direction. They have to match. They need to be in harmony.
So give me an example of non-congruence.
Okay. Let's say you're visualizing getting a big promotion at work. You're doing the emotional rehearsal, feeling the pride, the excitement, the relief. That's great.
Okay.
But then your aligned action for the rest of the day involves scrolling social media, complaining about your boss to colleagues, and doing the bare minimum required in your current role.
Ah, your actions completely contradict your intention and your supposed feelings.
Exactly. You're sending wildly mixed signals. Your thoughts and feelings are saying promotion, but your actions are screaming complacent or disengaged.
Mm-hmm.
There's no congruence.
So the subconscious mind, which you've maybe started to program with the thoughts and feelings, might start noticing little opportunities related to the promotion.
It might. Maybe you overhear a conversation about a new project or see an internal job posting.
But it's the action stepping up, applying, speaking to your boss, taking on more responsibility that actually converts those notice opportunities into physical reality.
Precisely. The universe, or your subconscious, or however you want to frame it, responds not just to your thought frequency or your emotional state, but to congruence. When all 3 elements, your specific thoughts, your amplified emotions, and your consistent physical effort, are harmonized and aimed at the same specific goal.
That's when things start to click.
That's when the synchronicity seems to accelerate. That's when the right people seem to appear, the right resources become available seemingly out of nowhere, and the goal rapidly shifts from just a potentiality in your mind to your actual physical reality. Congruence is the key that unlocks the door.
Okay, understanding these 3 ingredients, specificity, emotion, action, is absolutely foundational. But knowing the formula isn't enough, right? The path to actually mastering this is also paved with avoiding common errors, the things that trip people up.
Oh, definitely. Most people fail at manifestation not because the core principles are flawed, but because they unconsciously introduce these self-imposed limitations or emotional roadblocks. They sabotage themselves.
So let's transition smoothly into section 3 and analyze these deadly mistakes, as the sources called them. What are the critical thinking errors that often derail even the most well-intentioned efforts?
All right. Based on the materials, the first major mistake, the one that traps nearly everyone at some point, is mistake number 1, getting caught in the how trap.
The how trap. Okay, explain that. We obsess over the logistics, right?
We do. We decide what we want, the clear intention, hopefully and instantly. Our conscious analytical mind jumps in and starts demanding answers.
Yeah.
But how am I going to get the money for that? How will I find the time? How will I convince the bank, my boss, my spouse? How?
Yeah, that sounds familiar. The how can feel overwhelming.
And the danger here is immense, psychologically.
Uh-huh.
By obsessing over the linear step-by-step path of how the goal must manifest, you consciously, drastically restrict the potential solutions available to you.
How does it restrict them?
Because your conscious mind is limited. It only knows what it knows based on your past experiences, your current knowledge, your existing beliefs about what's possible. It can maybe imagine, 10 or 20 possible linear paths to achieve that goal.
And usually they're paths you've already considered and maybe dismissed as too hard or unrealistic.
Exactly. But your subconscious mind, when it's properly programmed, relaxed, and connected to what some sources call infinite intelligence or the quantum field, or even just your own deeper intuition, it has access to literally thousands of potential paths, nonlinear paths, creative solutions, unexpected opportunities, things you would never conceive of consciously.
So obsessing about the how shuts down access to those other possibilities.
It absolutely can. The solution isn't to completely ignore the how, like sticking your head in the sand. It's to relegate the how to the subconscious or the universe to figure out. Your job is to be crystal clear on the what, the intention, and the when, the timeline.
And the why, the emotion.
And the why, the emotion, yes. And then your only job regarding action is to take the next single, obvious, aligned step that you can see right in front of you.
Just the next step.
Not the whole staircase, not the whole staircase, just the next step. And then trust the process, trust your programmed subconscious, trust the universe, whatever language works for you, to handle the complex, unforeseen how. If you try to micromanage the entire journey from A to Z from the outset,
You get stuck in analysis paralysis.
you get stuck and you're trapped by the severe limitations of your current conscious perspective. You have to learn to surrender control over the specific logistical path while maintaining unwavering control over the destination and the feeling of getting there.
Okay, that requires a massive leap of faith for a lot of people, especially logical, analytical types.
It does initially. It requires practice. And crucially, it requires gathering evidence that it works, which is why that evidence journal we'll talk about later is so important. It builds that trust muscle.
Got it. Okay, moving on from the how trap, what's the next subtle mistake?
Mistake number 2, manifesting from lack. This is a purely emotional trap, but it's incredibly powerful.
Manifesting from lack, meaning your desire for something comes from a place of desperation or scarcity or fear.
Exactly. Your internal dialogue, the feeling behind your intention is something like, I need this job, or I'm totally screwed, or I desperately need more money, I don't have enough, or I have to lose this weight because I hate my body.
So the underlying feeling is neediness, desperation, maybe even self-loathing.
Yes. And when you use the manifestation process, the visualization, the intention setting, fueled by that feeling, what are you actually reinforcing?
You're reinforcing the feeling of not having it, the feeling of lack of desperation.
Precisely. The emotional frequency you're emitting, the signal you're sending out to your subconscious, to the quantum field, however you see it, is predominantly one of fear, desperation, and lack.
So even though your conscious mind might be saying the words, I want abundance, your core feeling, your vibration is screaming, I am lacking.
And the universe, or again, your subconscious filter, your confirmation bias, tends to reflect that dominant feeling back to you. It gives you more experiences that match the feeling of lack, reinforcing the cycle.
Wow, that's a vicious cycle. How do you break out of that? If you genuinely do need the money or the job.
It requires intentional, conscious, emotional effort. The fix proposed by the sources is this. You must shift to manifesting from a place of gratitude and pre-celebration.
Gratitude for what you have now, even if it's not much.
Yes, you must genuinely appreciate what you do have right now, even small things, while simultaneously working toward what you want.
Finding things to be grateful for changes your physiology, releases those endorphins we talked about.
And pre-celebration, feeling the joy of having it already.
Yes, connecting to the feeling of already having achieved the goal, as we discussed in Ingredient 2. This subtle but incredibly powerful shift instantly changes your dominant frequency. You move from desperation, which is a closed, constricted, repellent energy, to abundance and gratitude, which is an open, receptive, magnetic energy. So gratitude acts like a circuit breaker for that lack frequency.
Beautifully put. Gratitude is the circuit breaker.
Yeah.
It's the antidote to manifesting from lack.
Okay. Powerful stuff. And finally, mistake number 3. This one seems counterintuitive, maybe fueled by some misguided self-help advice out there.
Definitely. It's the mistake of ignoring your current reality.
Ignoring reality, like pretending you're already a millionaire when you're deep in debt.
Exactly. We've all heard that kind of advice, haven't we? Just act as if, or live entirely in your imagination, or completely ignore your bank balance and just pretend you're rich.
Yeah, it sounds good, but Does it work?
The sources we reviewed strongly warn against this. They say it doesn't lead to manifestation, it leads to delusion, denial, and often inaction.
Yeah.
You must start by acknowledging and accepting reality.
Why is acknowledging the current, maybe unpleasant reality so crucial it feels negative?
Because you cannot chart a new course unless you know, honestly, your starting coordinates. Think back to the GPS analogy.
Right. You have to tell it where you are now before it can calculate the route to where you want to go.
Exactly. If you put in your dream destination, say, financial freedom, but you refuse to acknowledge your current location, maybe significant debt, low income, the GPS simply cannot calculate the route. It has no starting point.
So you need to be brutally honest with yourself about your starting point. Your current debt level, your actual job situation, your current weight, whatever it is.
Honest? Yes. But, and this is key, without judgment. Acknowledge it, accept it as the current data point. Acceptance doesn't mean resignation. It doesn't mean you like it or want it to stay that way.
It just means clarity. This is where I am right now.
Precisely. Clarity.
Yeah.
Once you have that clear, honest starting point, then you can effectively choose your new trajectory, set your clear intention, and start taking aligned action to move from point A to point B.
So the effective process is acknowledge where you are, point A. Accept it without beating yourself up about it. Then clearly define where you want to go, point B, and start the manifestation process from that place of clarity.
Exactly. Manifestation, when done correctly and grounded in these principles, makes you engage with the realities of your life and empowers you to systematically improve them.
Yeah.
It's not about retreating into a fantasy world where inconvenient realities don't exist. It's actually a highly practical, reality-based approach to change.
Okay, this is making so much more sense now. We've got the science, the 3 ingredients, and the major pitfalls to avoid. Now let's get super practical. If someone listening right now wants to start implementing this immediately today, what's the blueprint?
The blueprint is the daily practice. The sources consistently emphasize a structured routine, particularly a morning ritual.
The morning manifestation ritual.
Yep.
Okay, the sources suggested this can be done effectively in less than 20 minutes.
If done with focus and consistency, yes. Less than 20 minutes to consciously set the trajectory for your entire day and start reprogramming your mind. And I really have to stress this point again. Consistency is the absolute core requirement here. This ritual, as short as it is, needs to become a non-negotiable part of your routine.
Like brushing your teeth.
Exactly. Ideally, done first thing in the morning, before the static of the outside world, checking emails, scrolling news feeds, dealing with other people's demands, has a chance to pollute your mental state and hijack your focus. You set your own frequency first.
Okay, walk us through it. Step 1.
Step 1, gratitude. 5 minutes. Sit down, maybe with a dedicated notebook, and physically write down 10 unique things you are genuinely grateful for right now.
Unique things, so no repeating the same ones every day.
Ideally, try to find new ones. Big things, small things. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for the taste of my coffee this morning. I'm grateful for my supportive partner. I'm grateful for the roof over my head. The key is to not just list them, but to briefly feel the genuine emotion of gratitude attached to each one as you write it.
Why start with gratitude? What's the mechanism there?
It's partly physiological and partly psychological. Physiologically, as we discussed, genuine gratitude floods your system with those positive endorphins, immediately elevating your emotional state. It shifts you out of potential lack or stress mode from the get-go.
Okay, and psychologically?
Psychologically, it signals abundance to your subconscious mind. It trains your brain to look for the good, to focus on what you have rather than what you lack. You're literally opening your brain's filter, the RAS, to receive positive inputs before you even start the more focused work of visualizing your specific goals. You prime the pump for positivity.
Makes sense. Okay, 5 minutes of gratitude, step 2.
Step 2, visualization. Another 5 minutes. This is where you take your crystal clear intention, your main goal, and you mentally rehearse achieving it or living it. But the key, again, is feeling it as if it were happening right now.
So this is the emotional amplification part in action.
Exactly. And the technique is deep sensory immersion. Close your eyes, engage all 5 senses as vividly as possible.
Give us an example. Let's say the goal is that dream vacation.
Okay. Don't just see a vague picture of a beach. Smell the salty air mixed with coconut sunscreen. Hear the specific sound of the waves crashing, maybe seagulls overhead, maybe faint music playing from a beach bar. Feel the warmth of the sun on your skin, the soft sand between your toes, taste the tropical drink in your hand, and most importantly, feel the profound sense of peace, relaxation, and joy wash over you.
You make it so compelling, so detailed that your brain almost can't tell the difference between this visualization and a real memory.
That's the goal. You want to generate the neurochemical state of the reality having already happened. You're creating that future memory now.
Okay, 5 minutes of sensory visualization. Step 3.
Step 3, writing the goal. Take your main, crystal clear goal, the one you formulated with specificity, and write it down in the present tense 10 times.
Present tense, like it's already true. I am earning $10,000 per month. Or I weigh 150 pounds and feel energized, not I will earn or I want to weigh.
Yeah, correct. Always present tense. I am, I have, I enjoy. Writing it down repeatedly serves as a direct programming exercise for that reticular activating system, the RAS we talked about.
Remind us quickly how the RAS works again, the brain's filter.
Think of the RAS like a highly discerning security guard at the door of your conscious awareness, or maybe a sophisticated spam filter for your brain. It has to manage the near infinite amount of sensory data flooding in every second, and its job is to decide what tiny fraction of that data is relevant to your survival and, crucially, to your goals, what gets let through to your conscious attention.
So if your primary goal, reinforced daily through writing, is set to, I am earning $10,000 per month from my online business.
Then that repetitive programming instructs your RAS filter to start highlighting anything related to that goal. Suddenly, you start noticing relevant articles, online courses about digital marketing, networking connections, potential client opportunities, software tools, things that were likely there all along but got filtered out as irrelevant noise before.
So you stop seeing only the problems and start automatically seeing the potential paths and resources.
Exactly. You are literally consciously changing the data stream that your conscious mind gets to process. You're directing your own focus.
Powerful. Okay. Gratitude, 5 minutes. Visualization, 5 minutes. Writing the goal, maybe 2-3 minutes. That leaves step 4, the mandatory action step.
Absolutely mandatory. Step 4, aligned action identification. Before you finish the ritual, you identify one small, specific, concrete action you can take today that moves you even slightly toward that goal.
There's one thing, not a huge to-do list.
Just one manageable thing.
Yeah.
The key is that it's aligned with a goal and you commit to doing it today.
Examples. If the goal is the $10,000 month online business.
The action might be research one competitor's pricing structure for 15 minutes, or draft one social media post about my service, or reach out to one potential collaborator.
If the goal is physical fitness, losing weight.
The action could be drink one extra glass of water today, or go for a 10-minute walk during my lunch break, or swap fries for a salad at dinner. Just one small, aligned step.
And then the crucial part is,
You must actually go and do it sometime that day. This ensures you satisfy the congruence principle we talked about.
Right.
You are never just sitting on the couch dreaming. You are always pairing the inner work with outer action, building momentum.
okay, that whole ritual, gratitude, visualize, write, identify action sounds genuinely doable in under 20 minutes.
It absolutely is. The power isn't in the duration. It's in the consistency and the focus.
Now, a key tool mentioned in the sources that reinforces this daily action and helps build that trust muscle you mentioned. It's the evidence journal. Sounds simple, but why is this apparently such a neurological game changer?
Its primary purpose is deliberately training your brain away from focusing on lack or problems and actively training it to spot evidence of abundance and progress, to look for proof that the process is working.
So what do you write in it?
Every win, every coincidence, every unexpected opportunity, every synchronous moment that relates even tangentially to your goals or just feels like a positive sign. You write it down.
And we're talking about everything, right? Not just like landing the huge client, small stuff too.
Yes, absolutely everything. Maybe you were thinking you needed a specific book for research, and the next day your friend mentions they have a copy you can borrow. Write it down.
Okay.
Maybe you were worried about a difficult conversation and it went much better than expected, or the other person brought up a solution you hadn't thought of. Write it down. Maybe you found a parking spot right out front when you were running late. Write it down.
Why log the tiny things like parking spots?
Because the underlying principle here is neuroscientific. What you focus on expands. By consciously deciding to look for and document every win, no matter how small, you are forcing your brain, conditioning your RAS to look for more wins. You're actively generating confirmation bias in your favor.
And it proves to your skeptical conscious mind that things are shifting.
Exactly. It provides concrete evidence that the system is working, which builds belief, reduces skepticism, and fuels your motivation to keep going with the intentions and actions. It creates a positive feedback loop.
Okay, the evidence journal, simple but powerful. And finally, for structure, the sources stress the need for continuous refinement. Manifestation isn't set it and forget it.
No, definitely not. The environment changes, you change, opportunities evolve. That's why the sources recommend a weekly reset.
A weekly reset, like a Sunday review session.
Precisely. Maybe every Sunday evening you take 15-20 minutes to conduct a full review of your progress towards your main goal. Ask yourself, what worked well this week? Which actions moved the needle? What synchronicities did I notice? Review your evidence journal.
And also, what didn't work.
Yes. What didn't work? Where did I face resistance? Do I need to adjust the specificity of my goal slightly? Was my aligned action effective, or do I need to try a different approach? Do I need to break down a step into smaller pieces?
So it's like a strategic planning meeting with yourself.
Exactly. This periodic review ensures you stay dynamic, flexible, and accountable. You're treating the process like managing a project or running a business, applying course correction as needed, rather than just throwing a wish out there and hoping for the best.
Yeah.
It keeps the process grounded and strategic.
Okay, this whole system, the ritual, the journal, the reset, feels very actionable. But to really illustrate the potential power here, we need to look at those narrative examples provided in the sources, the stories.
Yes, the stories really bring it to life.
Yeah.
Let's start with Sarah's story, because it's such a clear demonstration of moving from being that accidental creator of lack to a deliberate master of her reality.
Okay, tell us about Sarah. Where was she starting from?
Sarah was 32 and feeling completely stuck, totally demoralized. She was broke, had moved back home to live with her parents, and was carrying this immense weight of self-judgment and failure.
So her default thought loop, her 95%, was probably pretty negative.
Oh, absolutely. It was likely dominated by thoughts like, I'm a failure, I'll never get out of this situation, nothing ever works out for me. She was unconsciously manifesting more lack, more stagnation, more evidence of failure.
Until she decided to try this structured approach. She
Right.
committed to the 30-day challenge, right?
She did. She applied the 3-ingredient formula rigorously. So ingredient 1, what was her crystal clear intention?
It had to be specific.
Highly specific. It wasn't just get a job or make more money. It was, I am a successful freelance graphic designer earning $5,000 per month by October 31st, giving herself a clear deadline, working remotely, and choosing my own clients.
Wow. Okay, that hits all the marks.
I'm done.
Specific amount, $5 K, timeline, October 31st, mechanism, freelance graphic design, and even the desired lifestyle outcome, remote choosing clients. Very clear GPS coordinates.
Exactly. Then ingredient 2, the emotional amplification. How did she fuel this goal emotionally? She couldn't just focus on money.
What does she focus on feeling?
She focused intensely on the feeling of independence. She would visualize, using all her senses, the moment she signed the lease for her own apartment again. She felt a surge of pride as she paid the first month's rent with money she earned. She savored the feeling of security that came from having a stable income stream, not reliant on a single boss.
So she emotionally rehearsed the outcome of the money, the independence, the pride, the security. That drove out the old feeling of failure.
Precisely. And then ingredient 3, aligned action. This was where her consistency was apparently brutal.
What was her daily action? It had to be congruent with freelance graphic designer.
It was simple but non-negotiable. Her daily aligned action was, contact 5 potential clients or businesses that might need graphic design services every single day, rain or shine.
5 contacts a day, no exceptions, whether she felt like it or not.
No exceptions. That was the aligned action she committed to. She executed the action regardless of her mood or motivation level that day. That was the congruence.
And the result? The sources paint a picture of rapid transformation.
Astonishingly rapid. Within just 3 months, hitting her deadline, she had reached her $5,000 per month income goal.
Wow. How? Did she just get lucky with those contacts?
Well, the sources detail the synchronicity that started appearing because she was taking consistent action, and her mind was programmed to see opportunities. 2 of those seemingly random daily cold contacts unexpectedly led to long-term, high-value retainer contracts she hadn't even conceived of. Suddenly, she had more high-quality work than she could handle.
So the aligned action created the opportunities, and her programmed mind, RAS, was ready to recognize and seize them.
Exactly. The congruence opened the door. And it didn't stop there. Within 6 months, she was consistently earning $8,000 per month, had moved into her own apartment, and was booking that dream vacation to Italy she had always wanted paid for entirely by her manifested reality.
That's an incredible story. From broke and living with parents to $8 a month in Italy in 6 months using this formula.
It highlights the power of specificity, emotion, and relentless congruent action.
Okay, let's look at Marcus's story too. His was about physical transformation, right? Losing weight.
Yes, and it shows how the principles apply just as well to health goals. Marcus wanted to lose 50 pounds. He'd tried seemingly every restrictive diet out there, and they'd all failed, leaving him feeling hopeless.
So he was likely trapped in that manifesting from lack cycle regarding his body.
Absolutely. His constant thought loop was probably something like, I hate my body. Dieting is miserable. I always fail. Losing weight is impossible for me. You cannot successfully manifest a healthy body when your primary fuel is self-hatred and the expectation of failure.
So how did he apply the formula? He had to change his intention entirely, didn't he?
He did. He made a crucial shift. Instead of focusing on losing weight, which inherently focuses on the lack of the desired body, on the struggle, he shifted his intention to manifesting the feeling and experience of already having a healthy, energetic body.
What was his specific intention then?
It was something like, I am energized throughout the day, I feel comfortable and confident in my clothes, and I easily run a 5K race by the end of the year. Notice it's about the positive experience, not just the number on the scale.
Okay. And the emotional rehearsal.
He practiced feeling it. He visualized himself crossing the finish line of that 5K, feeling the runner's high, the accomplishment. He visualized waking up, feeling refreshed and energetic. He focused on the feeling of ease and comfort in his body during daily activities.
Got it. And his aligned action. This is where diets often fail because the actions feel too drastic or unsustainable.
His aligned action was genius in its simplicity and sustainability. He made it small enough to be non-threatening and easy to achieve daily wins.
What were the actions?
Just 2 small things daily. First, walk for 10 minutes, just 10 minutes maybe during a break. Second, make just one single healthy choice per meal.
One choice. Like what?
Like choosing water instead of soda, or having fruit for dessert instead of cake, or adding a side salad. Just one small upgrade per meal.
Why so small?
Because by making the action small and achievable, he guaranteed himself immediate daily wins. He wasn't setting himself up for failure with some massive overhaul, and crucially, he logged these small wins in his evidence journal every day. Walked 10 mental win. Chose water win.
So those tiny daily wins fed his emotional state, reinforced his belief, and kept the positive momentum going.
Exactly. It short-circuited the old I always fail loop. And the result, he lost 55 pounds over about 8 months. He successfully ran his first 5K race. And perhaps, most importantly, he completely transformed his relationship with food, movement, and his own body, moving from hatred to appreciation.
Again, a profound transformation achieved not through struggle and restriction, but by reprogramming his mind, focusing on the desired feeling, and taking small, synchronized, manageable steps consistently.
These individuals, Sarah and Marcus, they weren't portrayed as having special powers. They just learned and applied the principles with diligence and consistency.
Which really underscores the point that this isn't some mystical gift, it's a skill, a practice. And it ties directly into broader concepts of personal development, doesn't it?
Absolutely. These stories, the formula, the pitfalls, they all highlight that manifestation, when understood and practiced correctly, isn't some isolated trick or shortcut to bypass effort. It is fundamentally a high-level, deliberate form of personal development.
It's about mastering your inner world to influence your outer world.
Precisely. And that's why the sources strongly encourage listeners, you listening right now, to seriously consider taking that 30-day challenge we mentioned.
Remind us, pick one goal.
Pick one specific, meaningful goal that you genuinely want to achieve, just one to start, and commit fully to practicing the morning manifestation, ritual gratitude, visualization, writing, aligned action every single day for 30 days.
And track everything.
Track your actions, track your progress, and especially track the synchronicities, the wins, the evidence in your evidence journal. And remember that statistic. Accountability drastically increases success rates. Studies show it can be over 60% higher.
So maybe tell a friend, join a group, or even, as we'll mention later, comment publicly about your commitment. Making it real helps.
It really does. And committing to this level of focused practice brings about profound advantages that go way beyond just achieving that one initial goal. One key benefit the sources highlight is the cultivation of inspirational thoughts and ideas.
How does deliberately focusing your thoughts like this actually lead to better ideas popping into your head?
Well, when you consistently practice focused intention, the writing, the visualizing, the feeling, the acting, you cultivate a powerful, unwavering belief in your goal and your ability to achieve it. As your mind becomes increasingly programmed for that outcome and less cluttered by the static of that old 95% repetitive, often negative thinking,
Your mind gets clearer.
it gets clearer, purer, more purposeful. Your subconscious mind, now highly targeted by your instructions and filtered by the RAS, starts actively feeding your conscious mind relevant information. This often shows up as hunches, sudden insights, creative solutions to problems, or innovative ideas related to your goal.
So you stop just passively reacting to whatever information comes along, and you start actively generating purposeful, relevant ideas from within.
Exactly. Your mind becomes a generator aligned with your intention.
Okay, that's a powerful advantage. The second major advantage mentioned is increased awareness. And this ties back to that Einstein quote, doesn't it?
Yes, the famous one. You cannot resolve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. You have to go to a new level of consciousness to solve any problem.
How does manifestation practice elevate your level of consciousness or awareness?
This really gets to the heart of personal growth achieved through this process.
Hmm.
Manifestation done right forces you to step back and systematically analyze your own internal world. Your belief systems, what do I really believe is possible? Your dominant emotional patterns, what am I feeling most of the time? And your daily habits and actions, what am I actually doing?
It makes you more self-aware.
Deeply self-aware. And this elevated perspective, this ability to observe your own thinking and behavior more objectively, is that new level of consciousness Einstein talked about. From this higher vantage point, problems that seemed completely insurmountable before often start to seem smaller, more manageable, or sometimes they even just evaporate.
Not because the external problem magically
But
changed.
because you're thinking about the problem, your perspective, your focus, your
Mhm.
perceived resources has become more focused, efficient, creative, and strategic. You are no longer operating from the same limited, perhaps chaotic thinking that created or perpetuated the initial problem. You've upgraded your internal operating system.
Okay. Now, we talked about the efficient 20-minute morning ritual, but the sources also detailed an alternative, perhaps more in-depth methodology, especially for bigger, more complex goals. They called it the writing pacing strategy, or sometimes the write a book method.
Yes. This method is excellent for long-term projects or goals that require many steps. And it strongly reinforces that core philosophical idea we touched on earlier. Manifestation requires accepting current realities and then systematically working to make them better. It firmly positions it as not a narcissistic or self-centered gimme approach, but one rooted in taking responsibility for creating positive change.
So how does the write a book method work? It involves a physical journal again.
Yes, typically a dedicated physical book or a substantial journal. On the very first page, you write your overall, big, audacious goal. This is like the title of your book, The Ultimate Destination.
Okay.
Then, on all the subsequent pages, you meticulously track every single step, every action, every milestone achieved toward that big goal. It becomes a living record of your journey.
But the key distinction here, according to the sources, is how you structure the goals within the book, right? You don't just focus on the big one.
Absolutely critical distinction. You never just write one massive monolithic goal like buy a house or build $1 million business. That's too overwhelming and paralyzes action. You must break down that primary goal into small, specific, measurable sub-goals, actionable chunks.
Give me an example for the buy a house goal. What would the sub-goals look like?
They wouldn't just be save money. They'd be things like research 3 reliable mortgage brokers online by Friday, download and review my credit report this weekend, calculate how much I can realistically save per month and set up an automatic transfer, increase my credit score by 10 points within the next 30 days, transfer $200 into the dedicated house down payment savings account every single Friday. See how specific and actionable those are?
Yeah, much less intimidating than just save a $50,000 down payment. It breaks it down into doable steps.
Exactly. This division addresses that feeling of overwhelm that so often kills motivation before you even start. And the pacing element comes into play daily. You make sure the aligned action is small and consistent.
How does the pacing work?
Initially, the advice is to commit to completing just one of these small sub-goals, or one action step towards a sub-goal, every single day.
Yeah.
Just one. Then, as you build momentum and confidence, you might gradually increase that to accomplishing 2 or 3 small tasks daily.
So you're constantly moving forward, constantly generating those little dopamine hits of accomplishment.
Precisely. This keeps your day highly productive, prevents the larger goal from feeling impossibly far away, and consistently fuels your motivation with the tangible evidence of progress, small wins, logged in your book.
And then presumably the weekly reassessment comes back into play here too.
Absolutely essential with this method. That Sunday review allows you to look at your book, see the progress you've made on the sub-goals, assess what's working, and adjust your plan for the coming week. Did saving $200 a week prove too difficult right now? Maybe you need to adjust that sub-goal temporarily to $150 and add a new sub-goal focused on finding ways to generate a little extra income.
So it's a dynamic process of setting sub-goals, taking daily action, tracking progress, and refining the path weekly.
Exactly. This cyclical refinement keeps you engaged, provides crucial feedback on your strategy, prevents burnout, and shows you, undeniably, exactly how much closer you've gotten over the past 7 days. It makes the journey manageable and reinforces belief.
And the ultimate achievement, the sources suggest, with either the short ritual or this more detailed write-a-book method, it's reaching a state of mental control, isn't it?
That really is the mastery level. Eventually, through consistent practice, the focused thought, the emotional rehearsal, the aligned action, the tracking, the refinement, the mind memorizes the goals and the pathways so deeply.
It becomes automatic.
It becomes largely automatic.
Yeah.
The goals, the positive mindset, the productive actions, they become so deeply programmed into your subconscious that the external journal, the constant reminders, might not even be necessary anymore for that specific goal. The desired reality simply becomes your natural default path forward because your internal operating system is now fully aligned with it.
Which brings us right back around full circle to why this whole process, manifestation, is so intrinsically and fundamentally tied to established principles of personal development and peak performance. The similarities are profound.
They really are identical in many ways. For one, both absolutely require clear goal setting. You simply cannot achieve anything significant or productive, whether you call it manifestation or personal growth, without first defining a precise, ideally present tense and actionable goal. What's the target?
Right. No target, no direction. Secondly, both demand action. As we've stressed over and over in this deep dive, just thinking about the goal, no matter how positively or intensely, is completely insufficient. Both effective manifestation and high-level personal development require putting in real, consistent, congruent physical effort toward the objective. You have to do the work.
No substitute for action. And finally, the crucial role of emotions. Both frameworks recognize that you need to connect with the feeling you will experience upon achieving the goal. You need that emotional stimulus, that why, that pre-celebration we talked about.
To stay motivated.
To stay motivated, yes, but also to stay productive, resilient, and engaged, especially when you hit the inevitable obstacles, setbacks, or periods where progress feels slow. That positive emotional anchor keeps you pulling forward.
So in summary, it seems whether you choose to label this powerful process as manifestation or applied neuroscience, or simply the most structured and potent form of personal development possible, the underlying structure remains identical.
Focused thought, specificity, powerful emotional intent, amplification, and consistent, congruent action, alignment. That's the universal formula for consciously creating your desired reality.
It's the formula for mastering your reality, not just passively experiencing it.
Well said.
Okay, this has been a really deep dive. We've unpacked the science, the formula, the mistakes, the methods, realizing that you, the listener, are far more than just an observer in your own life.
Absolutely. You are the artist.
Your life is the canvas.
And every focused thought, every amplified emotion, every aligned action, it's a deliberate brushstroke shaping the final picture.
You possess the power to consciously control your destiny, your reality, by deliberately directing and programming your own mind.
So what does all this mean for you right now listening to this? What's the takeaway?
It means that your dream life, whatever that looks like for you, isn't some distant, impossible fantasy you just have to hope for.
No. It is the natural, inevitable outcome that sits waiting on the other side of consistent, aligned action, powered by crystal clear, focused intention. The power truly resides in the intentional programming and directing of your mind.
And if you're feeling inspired right now, if you're ready to take these principles and really apply them to go deeper, we've put together a wealth of resources specifically for our community of conscious creators. We want to support you on this journey.
Absolutely. First off, if this topic resonated, we strongly encourage you to check out our dedicated playlist about self-help and personal development. We've compiled hours and hours of deep dives, just like this one, dedicated to mastering these kinds of psychological techniques, mindset shifts, and actionable frameworks to help you accelerate your personal growth journey.
And we genuinely want you to be part of our growing community. So please take a moment right now to subscribe to the Dreamsoft Technologies Canada channel right here where you're listening, and make sure you hit that notification bell too.
Yeah, hitting the bell means you won't miss future deep dives. We're really passionate about building a supportive family of people who are dedicated to mastering these techniques and consciously designing their ideal lives together.
And for even more connection, for exclusive content, bonus insights, and maybe some real-time community discussions on how to implement these manifestation strategies day to day, make sure you join our WhatsApp channel family.
That's where we can have more direct conversations, share quick tips, host Q&As, and really keep each other accountable and engaged on this path. It's a great way to stay connected between deep dives.
Also, don't miss out on the opportunity for more structured learning. We offer several completely free online courses, including a really comprehensive diploma in personal development, plus many more resources designed to help you truly solidify these manifestation and self-mastery skills.
These courses go into even greater detail on goal setting, habit formation, emotional regulation, and more. All the necessary resources, the links, the registration details, everything you need is right there for you. The link is in the description below this recording.
Please check those out. And if this particular deep dive gave you value, if you had one of those aha moments, please do us a quick favor and smash that like button.
Yeah, hitting like really helps the algorithms show this information to more people who might need to hear it, people ready to shift from being accidental creators to deliberate masters of their lives. Help us spread the message.
And finally, let's make that 30-day challenge commitment real right now, like this recording, and then drop a comment below. Tell us the one specific crystal clear goal you are committing to manifesting over the next 30 days using these principles.
Yes. Make that commitment public. Share your intention. That immediate accountability boost can make a huge difference. We want to see what amazing things you're setting out to create.
We'll be reading the comments. Now, as a final provocative thought to leave you with, something to mull over.
Let's remember that important cautionary note that was woven into the expert sources we consulted. While this deep dive and the methods discussed, strive for completeness in understanding how to program your mind for success.
You still need to use your judgment.
Exactly. Readers and listeners are always cautioned to rely on their own judgment and critical thinking. Use the incredible clarity, focus, and motivation that manifestation provides, absolutely. But always, always seek out competent, quantified professionals for specific advice in complex fields like law, business strategy, accounting, or intricate financial planning.
That makes perfect sense. Manifestation sharpens your mind, clarifies your direction, and helps you spot the opportunities.
But the professionals provide the specialized expertise to guide the actual technical execution in those regulated fields. Use both mindset and expert guidance.
Manifestation primes you for success. Professionals help you navigate the complexities. Okay, go manifest something specific, something meaningful, something amazing, starting today.
We believe you can. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.